Imperial computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Okay, I think I'm good to go. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hey, Shiny Mute Paints, how's it going? How was your New Year's? How was your holidays? The last time I streamed, I think, was mid-December, so it's been a while since I've seen some of you. Hello. Hey, Snowtwig, Happy New Year. Good to see you guys. It's weird to finally be able to stream again, because I was so sick, and I was so tired, and I was so sick and tired. Due to I caught COVID. Unfortunately, I caught COVID, and even though the test came back negative, the test expired in 2023, I think. So, yeah. Thank you for popping in, Snowtwig. I do appreciate it. The stream's gonna go great because I got plenty of things to paint and I got plenty of things to do, and it's gonna be a good day. So thank you for popping in and saying hi. I do appreciate it. But yeah, it's weird being back, and I appreciate y'all for coming in and saying hi. So how was your guys' holidays? I saw Murphy's Law being an SOB. I noticed that. It seemed like you had some very short streams the few times I saw you hop on. So I'm glad that you announced it, because it was fun being able to hop on someone else's stream and watch how they did it. Shiny Mew Paints. But yeah, very cold end of the year. I know, right? We got snow last weekend, and we're supposed to get more snow this weekend, and I'm very excited. It's unfortunately going to start while I'm in the middle of playing like my first competitive game of Warhammer, so all I can think of is, this is okay, I guess. This is happening. I'm not upset. What do I think about the Ficubus? I think you did a really good job, and I think it was really neat to see that. If I recall properly, Shiny Mew Paints, wasn't that the one where you tried to do some of the very successfully, might I add, you tried to do some of the shading and highlighting techniques? Because it turned out really good. Okay, so no, that wasn't the one I was thinking of, but that one is really cool, and I think you did an awesome job. I think what I was thinking of was the Gobbo that you did with the chain, yeah, with the chain chomp. And they both of those models looked fantastic. So I appreciate you sharing those. And your Infernus Marine. Hey, Sandarius, good to see you. Yes, I am alive. I've been ill or exhausted, or ill and exhausted for like the past month. And holidays happened, so, you know, that kind of took precedence over streaming. But I am alive. I am here. I am not dead. And right now, I'm kind of prepping up because I don't actually have a whole lot of new models to paint. I've been doing a lot of painting kind of on my own just to feel better about things. But yeah. So what we're gonna do today is first get rid of the starting soon image and the starting soon, and we're gonna hop onto the main camera and hope it hasn't shifted. Oh darn, Shiny Mew Paints just went on lurk, but I wanted to show Shiny Mew paints before they left that they specifically shared a model with me that they wanted me to paint on stream. So I went ahead and printed it out. It's this lovely little goblin lady right here. And I keep forgetting, well, I don't keep forgetting, that's kind of a lie. They are very tiny. These little goblin ladies are very, very tiny, if you can't tell by the size of it relative to my thumb. To give you an idea, this is the size of a goblin ogre compared to the little goblin lady. So at some point, I'm going to go ahead and give this a good paint as well. Because I did one, and I actually had a lot of fun because it was so atypical to what I normally paint. And I think it turned out pretty good. If I can find it. I dropped it off somewhere, and I don't remember where. I actually ended up purloining / taking / claiming a piece of equipment from the place that I work because they were going to throw it away. And that meant I moved a bunch of stuff. Batch painting about 2,000 of Cadian armor, which was a lot of blue. That is a lot of blue. And I ended up doing something similar. Definitely not that much. I don't know if you saw on the Discord, but I went ahead and printed out some one-page rules. Human Defense Force, which is their version of, I guess, the Cadians. And I decided that I wanted them to wear like a cold steel gray, which ended up being kind of blue shaded, and give them highlights of red to kind of pop their armor a bit. And so ended up getting something fairly similar in terms of overall look, because they've definitely got kind of that bluish appearance on them. And I gave them red trim in certain spots and like streaks across their armor because it was supposed to represent I guess the blood they shed for their planet. So this was almost entirely speed painted, and I think they turned out pretty okay given that I've only spent, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours total on them. So there's still a lot of little bits because unfortunately the resin that I used was kind of awful and I got real frustrated with it. So they're not the cleanest paint jobs I've ever done, but they're there, and that's all that matters. Hopefully I can continue working on them and kind of making them look better, and they'll eventually turn into something that I like a lot more. Something else that I painted while I was gone that I'm pretty proud of is this guy right here. I don't know if he reads as the character he's supposed to read as, but I was pretty darn happy with how he turned out, given how small he was, because, like, this is my thumb in comparison to him. Haven't been paying attention to Discord. My Cadians kind of look like UN peacekeepers. That's pretty cool, though. And I get it. The Discord kind of, it's existed, but it's just kind of done that. So yeah, I've got him, and I need to finish doing the highlighting on her, but I've got her as well. So eventually, I'm going to go ahead and print the TARDIS to go along with them and do, I guess I'll call it a little diorama, because I've been meaning to print and paint these two for about 6 months now, and I finally had a successful print. So, yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to show these off at a community day for Doig Swift at some point. But I'm pretty darn proud of how they turned out. But yeah, as you can see, he definitely got a little more love and detail on him compared to her. The only way I can enjoy the funny paint scheme, it's the only way I can enjoy the funny paint scheme and enjoy the Cadians, otherwise they just look goofy. Yeah, Cadians do look kind of funky, don't they? I do like the newer sculpts. Not to say the old ones were any bad or anything, but I do definitely like the newer sculpts. I think they did a lot for them. I also did this guy. He's partially out of 3D printed bits and partially out of Deathwatch bits. But he's only just lightly glued to this so that I had a platform to paint him with. But he's just going to become part of some kind of diorama, I think. Either that or he might just become a chapter master, like a captain or something. But yeah, one of the Patreons I used to follow had a bunch of customizable Imperial Fist bits. So you can see, got the fist chest plate, I got the fist embroidery and embossing on their belt and their loop. They made this thing right here, The helmet is custom. So yeah, I thought that this would be a neat little project just made out of messy bits while I tried to print out something of a slightly grander ambition. So that might get painted as well. Right now, though, I'm going to go ahead and start working on this guy. And unfortunately, because of how everything's set up, I'm probably going to end up drifting this way. Hey, Dark Volt, good to see you. How are you doing? I know it's been a while since we've seen each other live, but it looked like you were having a pretty good time putting together and recollecting your Dark Angels. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time keeping this thing in camera focus because I had to orient the camera somewhat oddly today. And unfortunately, I somehow injured my neck because I'm getting old. And apparently, sleeping on my stomach was a bad idea. So, like, it hurts to turn my neck, and I'm sad about it. I'll post a progress photo on Discord since it's interesting. Yeah, it will be interesting to show me. Please do. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to start painting up this guy right here. You're getting hyped being close to finishing your old collection, at least the Space Marine side. That is pretty cool because, you know, you've had them for a long time, and you're finally getting to the light at the end of the tunnel for them. And so congratulations for that, because that's super neat, and I'm really happy for you. It has been fun seeing what you've come up with and what your stuff has looked like as you've been posting it. So I think what I'm going to do with this guy is I did one that was kind of brown. I did one that was made with like a blacker fur. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and go over it with like a flesh-colored fur to kind of be a little tawny. And then I'm probably going to go back over some spots with a more fleshy color to show that it's definitely peering through. And it also seems as though I've got some lag issues with my camera, and that's a little annoying, but thankfully it's not so bad because I'm not trying to do a collaboration with another viewer. That was definitely fun, and I had a lot of fun being on a dual stream with Isidore. I just wish that I had in advance tested it a little more because I spent the first hour of that trying to figure out my webcam situation. You got plenty of new Primaris models. You'll try and buy old models when you still can. Big chunk of your past getting closure. Yeah, that's really freaking cool. I'm happy you were able to do it, and I can't wait to see what your army looks like. I just saw an Auspex Tactics video. Actually, I kind of skimmed through those because I'm not super interested in competitive since that's not what I'm playing. But it is kind of neat seeing how the updates have affected how the armies play. And the Grotmus updates have turned the Dark Angels into one of the better armies right now. Which means that's pretty likely to change in the next 5 minutes or something. But it is neat seeing them go from one of the lesser played armies to becoming one of the better ones, for lack of a better term. But they definitely went really hard on giving the Space Marines a lot of punishment, or a lot of firepower, especially in the way that I play. So I'm excited this Friday, to get to actually play a live game against someone that I don't know very well in a competitive format. Got no Acadian heavy weapons team for comparison. I'll have to take a look at that in a second once I've finished layering this on, because I don't want it to be too splotchy, if you know what I mean. So I will definitely look at that in a second, especially because Discord is flashing at me. So yeah, right now I've watered down the speed paint just a little bit, so because I was expecting it to be a lot thicker. It's not, which is fine. But what I'm kind of doing, it warms my heart that the Dark Angels are getting attention. It is really cool, and I was actually kind of saddened because someone who I follow on Blue Sky, I always feel bad for them because they seem to be going through a lot financially, and they're good people, so I really wish I could help them out more. But I guess to get different models, they're selling their Lionel Johnson, which is completely new in box, and they were selling it for $50 shipped, $50, which is I think like $20 less than it sells for at Games Workshop. And I really want it because I want to have an official model, but I don't have any money. And then I saw them drop it to 40 because apparently no one was biting, and then it's just like, oh man, no. If I had the money, I'd give you 50 for the model. So yeah, I felt bad for them. I hope they're doing better. They seem to get a lot of commissions, which I think is absolutely wild, and I love that for them. I wish I was getting half the commissions they were getting. So hopefully they're just in kind of a rough spot and they'll be better. Okay, so that's been, wait a minute, that's metal. Okay, that's been painted on. So let's go ahead and take a look at these Cadians. Oh my goodness, that is an amazing color you have chosen for them. I also love the fact that you've got Ursula Creed back there. That's a really cool model that I'd like to own. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Bam. Whoops. There we go. So this is what Sindarius has been doing with their Cadians. They have been giving them an absolutely wild, I guess it's like a teal blue and burnt or yellow color scheme. And it really pops, and I really love that. I think that mini painting in Warhammer is better when you've got big, bright, bold colors. That's absolutely fantastic, and I love it. Please continue doing this. I can't wait to see how all these look when you're done with them, because you are an awesome painter, and this looks fantastic. Speaking of, I have, not necessarily speaking of awesome painting, because I don't have much more to add to how great that is, but since I mentioned it earlier, but I caught COVID, unfortunately, and it was despite my best efforts. And my test came back negative, which was a lie, because that test was very old, and I refused to believe that it was actually negative. Darken it down a little with washes. Yeah, and that's going to look really good. But I spent basically the entire time I was sick playing Rogue Trader and continuing on with that game. And I cannot emphasize enough that if you are a fan of Warhammer and you want to play as the Imperium, play Rogue Trader, because that game is just an absolute A+ of a game if you're a Warhammer fan, and a solid B if you're a fan of computer RPGs. Because most of the talent, pretty much all of the talents you get when you level up are combat oriented. So if you're looking for like a more roleplay heavy experience because of your character builds, it still happens, but it's nowhere near as impactful as, say, Baldur's Gate, which is, of course, in a league of its own. But Owlcat just did an absolutely phenomenal job making a game that feels like a good Warhammer experience. And I know that they took really heavily from the Rogue Trader tabletop game, and it really just made me want to play the Rogue Trader tabletop game, because it's just such a well-crafted game with such cool stuff going on. So yeah, get Rogue Trader if you can. If you're into those games, play Rogue Trader. It's a good time. Okay, sorry about that. I'm gonna hit this with a hair dryer to try and accelerate the drying process a little, because I'm actually, this is kind of going to be the shadow color. I'm going to dry brush this over with a kind of a light brown, because I want this to be more of like a peach buzzard color rat. So hopefully that will all show, but in the meantime, I'm going to get hit with some metal. And as you can tell, I've definitely embraced a little harder the speed paints, because we're trying to get things done that I've been really kind of, you know, about doing. It's definitely helped with my motivation. So if that's another issue that you're having, I can strongly suggest getting some speed paints, because they will help encourage you to paint things you otherwise wouldn't want to paint. At least they're doing that for me. But yeah, something that I found out about Rogue Trader that I do appreciate is that the game doesn't really want to give you a happy ending, but it also doesn't want to make it feel like you've basically wasted your time playing the game. So the endings that you can get all feel appropriate for what you've done. And given that you're playing in 40K, it's kind of like you're expecting bad things. And they're just bittersweet enough that you feel okay about them. So, and it all feels very, very Warhammer, very grimdark. So they knocked it out of the park with it. And the more that you do bug fixes, the more they improve it, the better the game gets. And I will be completely honest with you. I got the DLC just because it was relatively inexpensive and on sale. And I went into it expecting it to be fine. You know, not great, but a DLC. Something that adds on and gives you more of the game, but nothing, you know, especially amazing. And I couldn't be more wrong. The DLC that they're adding into Rogue Trader really just feels like these were the things we wanted to put in the game, but we ran out of time. Because, first of all, it's really involved and really long. So it feels almost like a campaign in itself, which is pretty cool. But secondly, it feels so seamlessly integrated to the main game. It really just feels like it was part of it. So, and the new character they introduced, Cabela, very cool character, gave me a whole new appreciation for Death Cult assassins. It just keeps wowing me how well built the lore is for 40K. Because I couldn't have cared less about the character until I met them and I got to be around them for like 30 minutes, and then I was like, oh no, there's a lot to this character, and that's really cool. So, like I was saying, if you get the chance and you like computer RPGs, give Rogue Trader a try. Because I figure that you're here listening to me chat because you enjoy Warhammer or you enjoy miniatures. And if you're a Warhammer fan, you owe it to yourself to play Rogue Trader. By no means a perfect game. It does have its flaws. But I feel like the experience it gives you so far outweighs the issues with the game that it's worth purchasing if you've got the money and time for it. And I'll go ahead and get off of my soapbox for Rogue Trader. And I promise you, I'll be back on it very shortly. I can't stop thinking about this game. But in the meantime, all I'm trying to do is get some of the metallics painted up with this speed paint to give the fur some time to dry, so I can eventually go back to the fur with different colors to give it a little bit more depth to it, because it doesn't look like I went in hard enough with my Zenithal, my dry brush, and so a lot of this guy is still very dull, and that's not a good thing if you're trying to make them pop, right? So yeah, I'm eventually going to go back and give it a dry brush with like a khaki or a tan or a bone, and really bring out what the fur color is supposed to be. You haven't picked up the DLC, but you will. Some people call it a 5-year game. It's in 5 years from now the DLC would be put in then. Yeah, I mean they've got a calendar, it seems like, and I don't know how well they've been following it, but it's just I have not been disappointed. When I first played the game back when it first came out, I'll admit I did not play it through legal means, but I was incredibly impressed with it then, even though it was something of a buggy mess. And then I picked it up again and bought it through Steam, and it's just been better. I knew that they made upgrades to it, and I knew that they fixed a lot of the issues that people had with it, the complaints people had, but I didn't realize how much that improved the quality of life until I played it again. If you do the DLC, I really suggest you wait until you do a new game and roll a new character, because it's very intrinsically tied into the rest of the story. So it feels weird. It would feel weird trying to play it midway, and I don't even know if you can. And they did such a good job just making it feel like a natural extension of the core game. And I feel almost bad saying this, but not really, because I don't have any prejudices for the army. But it made me want to build an Eldar army. specifically because of the Eldar companion. She's such a fascinating and good, well-written character. And like all of them are, there isn't a badly written character in the game. I think they all have their charms, and they all have their perks, and they all have their nuance. And I really like them a lot. Obviously, at this point, if you're doing a computer RPG, you're going to be compared to Baldur's Gate. And I think that that's unfair because Baldur's Gate is a generational game. And if you haven't played Baldur's Gate, but you love computer RPGs, you owe it to yourself to play Baldur's Gate, first of all. But secondly, Rogue Trader is never going to be Baldur's Gate, but for a traditional computer RPG, it really does stand on its own as an incredibly good game. So I can only recommend, if you haven't yet, give it a play. I think you'll like it, especially if you're into 40k lore. The beginning is a bit rough as you try and figure out the mechanics, but once you get those, everything kind of opens up. Okay. So I know right now the color of his like loincloth next to his fur is a bit too samey. So what's going to end up happening is they're going to get dry brushes with 2 different colors, and that should hopefully separate them a little bit. At least that is the plan. So now I need to mix. I think I'm going to try and mix this in a little bit. I'm going to try and mix some standard paint in with this speed paint and see if that'll lighten it up a bit without ruining it. But I want to make the belt just a slightly lighter leather color. And I have no idea if this is going to work, because I haven't really done a whole lot of experimenting with speed paints, but I mean, now's as good a time to try as any, right? So we're going to go ahead and give that a shot. Take some speed paint, mix it in there. Ooh, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. Fantastic. Now let's hope it doesn't run too much. It will not. That looks good. Very cool. Now, as I've stated before, these aren't exactly supposed to be like my pet projects. I bought this entirely because I was interested in playing as Ratmen, not because I wanted to make some. You haven't played Baldur's Gate? Just that to me, I've played so much D&D and Pathfinder, it doesn't even scratch that new itch. That's kind of unfortunate, and I definitely understand, but I really feel like just as a video game, Baldur's Gate deserves to be studied because of how good it is. It's just an incredibly well-made game altogether. But I definitely get if you play it and you're just like, this isn't for me. I was honestly surprised because I follow Doig and Swift, and I've talked about that quite a bit. But I expected Swift to really love the game because she was really getting into D&D, but it bounced off her, and that surprised me quite a bit. But when she explained why, it made sense. It doesn't give you the same reactivity as proper D&D does, and part of what she loves about it is the interaction with your friends. And so the fact that Baldur's Gate, you really are kind of either playing by yourself or you're playing parallel with your friends in terms of how you interact with the world. I can definitely understand why she was like, yeah, this game just isn't for me. And again, I feel bad because I think it's a great game, and quite a few people seem to agree, but oh well, you know, not every game is for everyone. Okay, pipes are going to be black, but they're not going to be black. They're going to have kind of a highlight on them because that is what speed paints do, and that's what I want them to do. I will say, hands down, my favorite thing about speed paints is just how well they basically imitate an oil wash. Obviously, they're a lot more difficult to clean off than an oil wash, but for what you're trying to do with it, I think they do a great job, and I think it's pretty cool that they work that way. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and... That was way too wet. Okay. Yeah, like I realized when I was playing Baldur's Gate with some friends that perhaps playing Baldur's Gate multiplayer really wasn't for me because I don't know, when you play it by yourself, if you really get sucked into it like I did, you kind of get your own idea of what is the correct way to do it and how to experience the story. And then when you play with friends, you really are kind of stuck with how they play, and that can drastically change the game. At least with Rogue Trader, I can see a grandiose universe with a very different mechanics. Besides steering bolter fire and other guns, it's far more satisfying. Yeah, and I think that's part of the draw, like part of the big appeal of playing it is that it uses a different game system entirely than D&D, and so you're experiencing a different game. It's not just Dungeons and Dragons with a Warhammer veneer on top of it. It is actually a different game. So that probably helps a lot with feeling like the game is more unique and more novel. And like I said, it made me actively seek out the Rogue Trader game system. And it made me realize, oh, they really did just use the Rogue Trader game system. So that was a big appeal for me. And I know that actual game system is old as sin at this point. It's many years old, and it's not very easy to find. But Cubicle 7 Games, I want to say, has released another similar game called Imperium Maledictum. And I'm very interested in trying out Imperium Maledictum because it's kind of the same boots on the ground. You're a small fish in a big pond type thing. So it keeps everything relatively low, and you're not some kind of superhuman space marine running through and killing everything on sight. And while I do want that Power Fantasy too, that's a different game entirely called Wrath and Glory. So the fact that Imperium Maledictum exists, and you can basically play Rogue Trader with a little bit more variety is super neat to me. Okay, so what I just did was I mixed some brown and black speed paint, and then I mixed in some airbrush flow improver. And you can kind of see what that did to it was it almost turned it, I didn't mix it very much, but it almost turned it into an oil wash, because now it looks like it's very actively seeking low spots to fill in, because it's got very loose viscosity due to the flow improver. And so that's going to kind of dirty up all of the metals and hopefully make everything not look quite as pristine as it did a second ago. And this is kind of my little trick for using oil wash without having to pull out the mineral spirits and everything else. And I typically do this when I'm doing exactly what I'm doing, which is speed painting. I'm not trying to make this look beautiful. I'm just trying to make it look complete. And hopefully that will come through in the final product without making it look too sloppy. Though admittedly, as many of you know, Skaven aren't exactly the cleanest, most organized. So I'm not too worried about it being perfect. I'm not getting precious with it, you know what I mean? Now what I do want to do at some point is actually go back and do like a really detailed, really labor of love style paint job on one of these models. And I kind of did that a little bit with the Grey Seer and with the Claw Lord, but I want to go back and really, really nail home the fact that I tried my damnedest on those models. Because right now it was more like, okay, I got them done and they look okay, but I really want to go ham with it. So hopefully that will happen. You don't remember the game system, but I did a few sessions with someone as a guardsman, and they had depth percentage. Yes. I used depth percentage dice-based shooting. Highlight of the story, I used a mortar in our ship with anti-plant rounds on some disgusting orcs. Fantastic. That's the same system made by not Fantasy Flight Games. I think that was Fantasy Flight Games. And that is a good system. And that's what Cubicle 7 is trying to replicate with Shoot, with the Imperium Maledictum. They're kind of using the same percentile system. So you're not necessarily playing as a guardsman, but you can definitely be a guardsman. Because if I recall properly, what they did was they made 4 or 5 games in that system with different mechanics. In one, you could be the Death Watch. In another, you could be Guardsman. In another, you could be Inquisition. In another, you could be a Rogue Trader, hence Rogue Trader. And in another, you could be a Chaos Marine. Chaos, I believe. Okay. I'm going to hit this guy with the hairdryer again. Try and dry out some more of this because he's got a lot of big fleshy bits on him. So what I'm going to do with the fleshy bits is I'm going to paint it over with some of the bone color that I pulled out, but I don't want it to strip off the speed paint. And if the speed paint doesn't get a chance to properly cure, it does tend to come up, and that's not good. So I'm going to hit this with this for a minute. Sorry about the light reflection. Hopefully, I'll have given this enough time. And you can kind of see how the metal looks a lot more rusted and looks a lot more beaten down and not quite as pristine. And that's exactly what I'm calling for. If that's not good enough, then it's not going to be good enough. We'll find out. Okay, so let's take some of that and get it on some of this flesh. And this is going to be way too bright, but that's fine because it's eventually going to get hit again with like a red or a flesh wash and then a red wash. So I'm going to make this look very, very angry is the idea. Yeah, it was the old Only War. That's what it was called. And those were the ones where you played as guardsmen, if I recall properly. And there's a famous 40k shitpost called All Guardsmen Party. And if I remember right, Bricky read part of it as part of one of the Adeptus Ridiculous anniversary streams. And it sounds absolutely wild. So if anyone has a chance to get a hold of those and gets a chance to play them with their friends, then best of luck to you, because it sounds like a rip-roaring good time. But just remember, you're a guardsman, so don't get too attached to that one character. You did Old Guardsman Party, that's pretty funny. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to find spots that would be very specifically flesh, because a lot of his fur looks matted, and I'm trying not to just hit all the matted fur as though it is, you know, bare flesh. And I will say, I wasn't too fond of this brush back when I first tried it with the Speed Paint 1s, but I'll be honest with you, the way this brush is set up, it's really good for doing basically what I'm doing. You may have to save to buy the book off of eBay. The $200 for a book is very steep. I know, right? I ended up downloading PDFs of them because they're such old books, you know what I mean? I didn't feel like it made a whole lot of sense to spend that kind of money on something that I could own digitally for far less, especially because the companies themselves don't really support the game anymore. Felt like a huge waste of time and funds, especially because I have been financially compromised for a little while now, and that's been the unfortunate part of doing that job transition. So yeah, you can probably find it elsewhere for cheaper. I'm pretty sure Drive-Thru RPG might have it digitally for a lot less than that. And I know reading off of a computer is not the funnest thing in the world, but it definitely beats spending that kind of money on a book. Unless, you know, you really want that book. I'm not one to judge. I spent $200 on a box of plastic. Okay, so thankfully, it looks like the I dried off the paint enough because none of it's coming up, which is what I was afraid was going to happen. It's actually doing a really good job of staying on the Mini and just kind of leaving these awful looking spots that I'm covering up, or that I'll cover up later with some speed paint. But that's another one. I've got to let this dry too, so that the speed paint doesn't lift it off and cause it to come up. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to hit it with a with that flesh wash again, and then I'll hit it with the red wash. Or maybe, I don't know, should I hit it with the red wash and then do kind of a dry brush with like a pink? I don't know. Oh, there's a big one I missed on his back. I suppose I'll find out in a minute, because I'm getting to a point where I really can't delay anymore, so I'm going to have to make a choice of what I do. But yeah, right now this is just pro acryl, I want to say ivory, which I kind of bought to be pale sand, and it works pretty well as a pale sand. It's definitely far too bright to use for the other purpose I was going to use it for, which was as a bone color. But it's just meant to be a warm white. Do I have a model to test it on? I already forgot what I said. I think my test run is supposed to be the other two rat ogres, but I completely forgot how I did it. Because the way I painted them, I kind of did it two completely different ways. So, like, this guy, you can see his flesh looks very angry. And I really like how that came out. But I don't remember how I did it. It looks like I went in with a red and then went over it with increasingly paler, fleshy pink. But on this one, which was the first one, I have no clue how I got that. And I think it looks really good. Because it looks kind of like older, more sore muscle. You know what I mean? Muscle that's been exposed to the elements just a little longer. This looks new and awful. I don't remember. I probably did, but I haven't gone back to actually look at it yet. Man, this one did turn out really good with the colors. Good gravy. I did a really good black on this guy. So yeah, I don't know. What's been kind of my mantra is screw it, I'm doing it live. Which I know is not the healthiest way to do this, but I'm also exceptionally lazy. So we're just gonna go ahead and do it live, I suppose. Okay, once again, I've made the mistake. I do remember very specifically that if I didn't hit this with the dryer and let it dry enough, it definitely created issues when I put the speed paint back on it, because it caused it to reactivate and just slop off and with these weird little bare patches. So I'm going to go ahead and... You can't wait for the Guard Codex. You got a box on pre-order. Yeah, the new Krieg looked fantastic. I hate to be that guy, but the new Krieg actually discouraged me from printing out the Station Forge Grimguard, because everyone's going to have Krieg, and since everyone's going to have Krieg, I didn't want to have Krieg. So I decided I wasn't going to go the Krieg route, even though I like their lasguns a lot more than the rifles that the Earth Defense Force have. Because, that's a grenade gun. The Earth Defense Force, actually, I don't know if you saw Dark Vault, but I added some red to the Earth Defense Force characters. And the idea that I had was that the red trim was supposed to represent, like, the blood they were sacrificing to protect their planet. So I wasn't sure how I was going to represent it on the model. And I just went ahead and did it this way. And I think it looks kind of goofy, but I think it looks kind of goofy in a way that I enjoy. Yeah, I know, Forge World just made them so darn expensive. But yeah, I think their guns look kind of goofy. I don't like the bullpup design, or not the bullpup, the foregrip design they've got on the rifles. But it is what it is. So I'm going to continue working with these guys. I do like the kind of cold blue gray that I got with their outfits. So I'm just going to keep doing this and see how it turns out. I do know that the red is obnoxiously bright because it's that bold Purol red. So like on this, I don't know what to call them. They're supposed to be a Commissar or a Castellan. I'm not sure which. But like the red is so obnoxious. And I'm not sure if I'm okay with it or not. But I kind of don't want to take it off or redo it because it definitely makes your eyes go to the model. And I think that's kind of neat. But yeah, that's how they're looking right now. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to go with Slaughter Red, which is like this deep, rich red. And I'm going to put that in all of the wound areas, all the bare flesh. And then I'm not going to dry brush it, but I'm probably going to kind of tone it up with a flesh tone that I have. We'll see how that looks. Okay, that feels like it's been mixed well enough. Actually, is there anything left in there that I need to pull out? So do you think they're going to do a Catachan release revamp in 11th edition? I know that's really far out. That's kind of silly to ask about. But I did see one of the Codex previews that they're basically splitting the units into unit data cards and whatnot that better match the individual boxes you can buy. So the Catachan, the Krieg, and Acadians all have different abilities now. Rumors are that Catachan are being worked on. That would make sense, and I wouldn't be surprised by it. I'm curious how they're going to do it, and I hope that they turn out just as good as every other thing they've done recently. Because I feel like they've done an incredible job with pretty much their entire miniature range all the way around. And I know that like some of their stuff has gotten flack, but I still think it's all been really darn good. I just hope they continue doing good things. Yeah, see, like look at how ridiculously red this is going to be. And that's exactly what I want. I want it to have this incredibly vibrant red, so that when I go back over it with a duller color, it still manages to poke through. Or with a less interesting color, I'll say. Though honestly, I want it to be just a smidge thinner. So we're going to go ahead and mix it with some water. See if that does what I'm looking for. So it's a little runnier. That's exactly what I was looking for. Fantastic. And I've got to be careful because I accidentally pulled off some of the paint just now. I saw it happen, so I've got to kind of hit it once and let it rest. And then I'll go back over this with a flesh tone color that I have. The range is good. I haven't seen any jokes like the BDSM Blood Angel. Yeah. Honestly, though, they're going to find a way to meme everything, I think. And whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, I appreciate that GW is clearly putting in quite a bit of love in redoing these minis. And I know, like, the Sanguinary Guard got kind of a little bit of flack because they didn't have the big, beautiful golden wings that they used to. And I get that. But I still think the models look really good. But at some point or another, I'm going to just become a GW apologist. I can almost feel it. I'm just happy that they're releasing cool models that, you know, are of incredibly high quality. And honestly, I think the ball gag Blood Angel dude is really cool. So, give me for enjoying that. I'm extremely excited for the new Fulgrim and the new Emperor's Children. I am unabashedly 100% over the moon with the new Fulgrim, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the range looks like. Oh yeah, I forgot they took off the nipples. And yeah, I mean, I know that was probably something that was important. I'm not too worried about it either way. But I also don't play Blood Angels, so my opinion means absolutely jack squat to people who do play Blood Angels, you know? I just thought all the models when I saw them were like, okay, those are pretty cool. If I was a Blood Angels fan, I'd probably buy them. So I'm sorry, Blood Angels fans who didn't like the new ones. But at the same time, you guys also have like a million kit bashers and 3D prints and custom bits and whatnot. So I don't feel too bad for you because I'm an Imperial Fist player. So I'm happy with getting pretty much anything. That being said, hey Mommy Dova, how's it going? Just talking about the new Krieg range and how excited I am for the Emperor's Children range, especially after seeing how horrifying Fulgrim is, and also trying to remember how I painted the last couple, like how I got the flesh tones and whatnot that I got, because I honestly don't remember. And like this guy, I know right now I'm kind of messing him up, I don't really care. He's going to look gross and horrifying, and that's all that matters. Okay. You have a plan to get some Sanguinary Guard to build some Dark Angels, Vanguard veterans with some Black Templar Sword Brethren weapon options. The subtle wings in the backpack is just enough to be nice. Very cool. I'm glad that you have plans. I'm glad that you saw them and were like, I can milk you. Because that's how you're supposed to feel about those. You can't wait to kit bash Fulgrim. I can't wait to build and paint him. I'm excited that people look at that and go, I can do cool shit with this. The new Krieg is sweet. You'd love to play him. If getting the normal infantry didn't cost like $1 million to get a squad of 10. You'll turn Fulgrim into a big cool Alfarius because Hydra Dominatus. I mean, he is Alfarius. So, yes. That would be absolutely perfect. Okay. So yeah, what I'm kind of doing right now, Mommy Dova, is I'm trying to work my way through these darn Skaven because I've had them for long enough. They need to be finished, and thankfully streaming is giving me enough encouragement to do so. But I'm also kind of in like a creative rut with them. I'm not sure what to do with them. So I'm just kind of using streaming as a sounding board to be like, does this look like a good idea? And when they say, you probably should do something else, I say, fuck it, I'm doing this idea. Maybe you'll try and put the blade discount to good use. God damn, that makes me... I'm so jealous that you have a discount there. I've been wanting to work at a local game store since I became like a fan of tabletop games and Magic and whatnot. But, you know, school teacher, need money, pay bills, etc., etc. Let's go ahead and grab this last little bit of flesh around. Hit it again with the red, because it doesn't need very much. It's slightly waterier. Maybe use him like he's bad in the armies or something. I've been wanting to work at Blade for ages, and Mike asked me if I wanted the job. I sure as shit wasn't going to say no. Yeah, and that's absolutely fair. If the owner of the shop that I love being at was like, hey, do you want to work here? I'd give them a hell yeah. My wife was actually considering asking the owner for Mishap if she could work there a couple days a week. You start your training tomorrow? Well, congratulations. I'm excited for you. I'm glad that you're getting a source of income again, and that it's a source of income that helps you enjoy this hobby more. It's going to be cool, and I hope you have a lot of fun. Okay, so now he has these horrifying everything, which is exactly what I want. I'm actually going to continue using this stupid color that I made on like the feet and on his toesies, because I can hit those with a brown, and that will hopefully... You were on a very short list of people apparently. This time I got to make sure I don't give my paycheck back to them. Yeah, not the entire thing. I mean, that's partially why they give the discount, because they know people who want... It's kind of like the Games Workshop thing, right? They know that people who want to work there are fans. So they're going to try and get back as much money as possible. Now, what needs to happen is, once I start having some discretionary money, is I just go ahead and start PayPaling you, and then you start buying things with the discount, and that way you're not wasting money, or not wasting your own money, you're wasting my money. And yeah, that's kind of what happened to me with, oh, that's their tongue, with the job that I'm currently at. They opened the position because they were actually going to give it to someone who was already working in the system, in like kind of an apprenticeship role. And I applied, and they went ahead and interviewed me because they saw that I had a master's degree and I had a certification, a technical certification. And they were like, well, we got to at least give him a chance. And then I came in and apparently absolutely blew them away with the interview. And they were like, well, we can't not hire him now. So, unfortunately, the guy who they opened the position for got passed over because I was just too good a hire for them to not hire. We're red. I had red a second ago. There's red. I've got a nice 20% off at the moment due to the league. Yeah, that is true. It's unfortunate I don't have any money. So, 20% of nothing is nothing. I legitimately have no money to buy anything right now. All my money is going towards like bills and groceries. So it is nice that I have that 20% off. It'll be even nicer when I can actually spend that 20%. Okay. Any part that I accidentally hit. The bone color is now getting this horrifying red, so that I can go back over it with an even more horrifying pink to give it this bare flesh look. This weepy, angry bare flesh look. Actually, I wonder. I'm gonna mix in that bone color with this to try and get... Nah, that's too pink. No, my game's this Friday. I'm playing the Drukhari player this Friday at a little after 6 p.m. So I don't know if you'll still be training at that point, but there's a pretty good chance you'll be seeing me there. And there's an even better chance that you're going to see me get my ass beat, because it's going to be a really fun learning experience. Oh, very cool. So you will see me. I'm curious how this game is going to go, because, again, never really played this game on a formal level. It's mainly been casual with friends. I think the game I played against you is the most serious game I've had. And, you saw how that went. Because I will admit, I did get frustrated, but it was more like, this is a puzzle I can't solve, and I don't see a way to solve it. Not necessarily, I'm mad at you for beating my ass. You did what you were supposed to do. You'll see me shadowbox the corner and eat your opponent's models. This is a good combination. I'm playing Imperial Fists. They've been my baby army since I started painting Warhammer Space Marines, which was pretty early in my journey. They've been kind of my labor of love with the Warhams. So I felt like, and it was also the one I had the most models for, to be completely honest. But it was just kind of like, I have to play as the Imperial Fists if I'm going to do a league. So that's what I'm doing. I'm playing, I'm going full Imperial Fists. I'm playing an Anvil Siege Force. And I'm going to get my ass beat because I went with a very themed list. So it's going to be fun. I have decided, against my better judgment, that I am using I'm going to end my 2,000 points with 2 Hammerfall bunkers. Because they're not good, but they're Imperial Fisty. So we'll see how that goes. So now I'm starting to mix in some of that red with the new fleshy tones. And they're already painted. They are. You're swatching between Berserker Band and Vessel of Wrath. Yeah, that's definitely a good place to go, because then you get to try the best of both worlds. I mean, them already being painted is nice, but that's more of a, I want to also show off my painting. To some extent, this is going to be a little bit of an advertisement for me, because I still do want to do commission painting. I just obviously haven't been advertising myself heavily. So I figure bringing well-painted minis, no matter how badly I get beat, to be like, yeah, I do commission painting. This is some of my models. Would be a great way to show off that I will paint your models very well. That kind of thing, you know? Vessels is going to be nutty. Give Karn a 10 block advance and charge guaranteed. Yeah, I know, right? It's going to be great, and you're going to have fun. The violence is not... The violence is going to happen whether they want it to or not. But yeah, my first list, I have no idea how well or how poorly it's going to do against Drukhari, because I don't think I'm bringing enough meat to the battle. It's like 2 units of Intercessors, a Redemptor Dreadnought, a Vindicator, Hammerfall Bunker. I have years of experience painting yellow. Yeah, pretty much. If I can make yellow look this good, imagine how good it'll make your army look, you know? But yeah, I didn't want to feel obligated into buying more models to continue making the army bigger as the League wore on, because I don't have that kind of money, and I'm not going to have that kind of money as the League progresses. So I'm probably going to be one of the only people who doesn't add to his army via the store discount. Which sucks, because I really want to. Because yeah, I have my 10,000 point army already created. I have it already listed in new recruit, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be heavy editing of it as I find out what works and what doesn't across my games. But yeah, that's a huge reason why I chose the fists, other than wanting to represent them, was just I already had the models. How long is the store discount valid? I think it's valid the length of the league, which goes until May? April? Because it starts at 1,000 points in January and then jumps up to 1,500 points in February. And then, yeah, and then goes to 2,000 in March. And then there's a tournament for, I think, the best armies. I don't know. I don't know how the league tournament works. My financial situation will stabilize by then. It's just that right now, with how it's working, we're not making enough money for me to have that kind of spending money. And that's not going to happen for a while. I'm going to need to get promoted a few times before that's the thing. And unfortunately, with the way the American economy is going, that's not going to matter much either. But that's A-okay. And I'll be completely honest, pretty much all of my spending money that would go to upgrading an army in League is going to go to buying the Emperor's Children line, like the entire Emperor's Children line when it comes out. So don't feel too bad for me. The tournament will be weird this time. Oh, spending money is what you mean was stable. That's fair. And the Kofi needs to shut the fuck up. I'm not asking for money. The tournament will be weird. 30 people is weird to do a tournament with. Yeah, I kind of feel that. I'm curious how this is going to work out, because I remember them not posting, or them waiting until the last minute because there were still people signing up for it, and it just being kind of wild with how many. Because what was it, like less than 20 people did the tournament last time? So I applaud Blade Gaming for making Warhammer. There were talks of splitting the... Yeah, I saw that they were going to be like, we have to split the tournament across a couple days because we're not fitting that many games in one day. If they did that, they'd have to shut down the store downstairs and just make it entirely a Warhammer day, which admittedly would be badass, but also just highly impractical for business. Though again, kudos to Blade for making Warhammer, helping Warhammer grow so big in such a small place. Hey, Lotus K, how's it going? Good to see you. How are you doing? How was your holidays? How was your winter? How was your New Year's? It's cold as sin. It snowed last week, and I got COVID, so it got really cold, and I got really sick, and now I'm feeling better, but it's still really cold. I hope that you had really good holidays, and you ate a lot of good food, and you hung out with a lot of cool people. I hope that for all of you guys. I got to be sick with COVID with my wife, and that was really cool, because we got to hang out and be sick together. With both Mike and I playing, I hope someone else can count. I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't set it up so that there was no one manning the counter. It'll be fine. It'll be good. Everything will be okay. This flesh tone looks absolutely disgusting, and I'm pretty okay with it. It's got that right amount of swollen blood under the muscle anger that I was kind of going for. It snowed Sunday into Monday recently. Yeah, it did the same for us too. I was off work for New Year's, and that's when I found out that my partner, my wife, got COVID. And so I took Thursday off because it's like, I don't want to get you guys infected with COVID, and I don't feel good. So I'm going to test later today, and then we'll move from there. And I tested negative, but I still felt like shit. So I was like, I'm not coming in Friday because I still got a wicked cough and I feel terrible. So sorry, I'll see you guys on Monday. And then it snowed, and then we didn't have to go to work on Monday. And then we had a 2-hour delay on Tuesday, so it was all good. Henry, I got a funny idea for you for anti-tank lists I can't wait to try out. Very cool. Anti-tank lists are always great. Just way too many big chonkers that can blow up other big chonkers. You're pissed about our snow. It said 8 to 13, but turned out to be like 3. We live in a bowl. The city we are in is heavily bolstered by mountain ranges, so we're never going to get a massive amount of snow. Especially with the current climate, we are never going to get a massive amount of snow again. Our bowl sucks. It's always like that. What would typically happen is, like when I first moved down here, we had a ridiculous snow. Like, I think it was 18 inches of snow. And the snow was up to my like mid-thigh. And that was awesome. And we got so many days off school. And that was the only time that's ever happened. So, and it's been getting warmer ever since, because apparently it's more important that some people made some really good dividends on their stock portfolios than it is to do anything about the climate situation. But that's a whole nother story that I'm not going to get into because I don't wanna. But anyway, yeah, I would love to have more snow. I thought it was really cool that when the relationship with my wife had progressed to the point where she moved in with me, because I had proposed, we had a white Christmas. That was really nice. So we at least got that before nature decided that snow was overrated and things just needed to be warm or bitter cold. Okay, so all I'm kind of doing is essentially really bad layering by kind of just not really dry brushing, but dry brushing this rose brown onto the exposed flesh of the model. And this is not the last step. My goal here is just to try and make everything have like natural layers of modeling on it. You want to show you how cool the business end of a chain axe is? Very cool. Razorback with a Devastator squad in back, 4 multi-meltas, then hop up to blast the Oath of Moment vehicle. Fire drill recall for sustained hit meltas, rolling multi-melta wounds after the Razorback fires, all for like 210, 220 points. That does sound like a lot of fun. That almost matches like clown car levels of stupid. Because as far as I'm concerned, the clown car is still the best idea that I've ever had for shitty memes. And yeah, I think, what was it? That was like, it was Torgaradon, 3 aggressors, and an apothecary biologist. No, 6 aggressors and an apothecary biologist and Torgaradon in a Land Raider Crusader. And the Land Raider Crusader would try and mow down all of the chaff with the hurricane bolters. And then Torgaradon and the apothecary biologist would hop out with the aggressors, and with the fire drill fire drill recall or whatever the heck it's called for the Anvil Siege Force, would just, you know, shoot stupid amounts of sustained lethal hits. And then once that was done, if anything was still alive, they would just charge it and then beat the shit out of it with their power fists. And since Torgaradon has Siege Master, he does, I think, 2 extra strength, 2 extra damage, and 2 extra attacks with his power fists. So he's hitting at like strength 16, damage 4 with what, 8 attacks? I don't remember. Just something really dumb. And that was my plan. And honestly, the best place to do that would probably be in this Escalation League. Like, play an on-theme Imperial Fist list for most of the time, and then once I know that I'm basically completely out of the running for any level of success, be like, okay guys, time for you to meet the clown car. And that's how I would finish my game, my last game. You could get a 60 plus objective control that's almost impossible shift. Yes, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm pretty sure someone did the math and realized that there's a lot of dumb shit you can do with the current math of Math Hammer. Okay, time to get a little sloppy with this because A, I'm getting tired of doing it, and B, I'm not making as much progress. What's eventually going to happen with this is it's actually going to get hit with another layer of like flesh tone, Your favorite clown cars with the guard, Doomhammer with 3 heavy weapon teams inside. Due to firing deck, you can do 13 plus las cannon shots from it. That is pretty stupid. But I mean, that's partially why I enjoy the aggressor clown card, because if I recall right, mathematically, I'm almost guaranteed like 30 to 40 wounds. And that's just silly. Whatever person thought that that was okay, needs to have their lunch taken away from them. Okie dokie. 10 Assault Terminators with Captain Lysander and an Ancient popping stratagem for OC. You get almost 70 OC. Yeah, I definitely have Lysander and some Assault Terminators in all of my lists because he is going to be my Warlord. In fact, I'm pretty sure I showed you guys. I don't remember if I worked on him on stream, but I bought a Indomitus Captain, or no, not Indomitus Captain. What's the other one? A Leviathan Captain, with the intention of converting him into a Lysander. And I finally bought enough resin to print out the custom Lysander bits. And I wasn't super happy with how he turned out, but he's done, and he's basically ready for play. And once I finish this, it's 600 points total, but it's also the stat block of a Dominus Knight and enough firepower to make the Emperor cry. That is true. And that is the fun of that kind of list, is just knowing that you have decided to be completely unreasonable. Okay. Go ahead and hit some of this. And again, I'm overcompensating a little bit and going a little brighter than I need to. And that is because this is going to get damped back down with a wash, probably a flesh wash now that I think about it. And that should take some of this back down to a more feasible fleshy color versus this almost pale bone color that I'm getting out of this. So hopefully that will all show when I finish. You got a Terminator Captain, but didn't realize it wasn't the Leviathan version, which sucks because you wanted the cloak. That sounds to me like you get to work on your green stuff. Give me a second, then. You're currently homebrewing your own chapter lore, and you want to kitbash characters to stand for any model you want. You want to make a space Viking Captain Lysander stand-in. That's going to be cool. Let me get this guy out, because I'm pretty sure I could have sworn I've shown it off before, but it's completely done. So I feel like now's as good a time as any. Take the rat off for a second. Ratto. So this is what the lad ended up looking like. And I went ahead and redid the hammer because I wasn't too fond of how it turned out. So I hit it again to make it look a little bit more like distinctly shaded. And at the same time, I dirtied him up to make it look like he had actually been through a fight, which I think turned out pretty okay. The shield is ridiculously red, which I think is pretty good. I put the scroll on his back, which actually used to be a Space Marine, like, tabard, or whatever you call it, the part that hangs in front of their groin. But, I forgot Lysander did have a scroll on his back, so I was like, let's add that as well. So yeah, this is what he ended up looking like. And I'm pretty happy with how he turned out. Yeah, the loincloth, thank you. Words are hard. I also went back and kind of touched up the symbol on his leg, because I never got really good with... I never really got good with the green stuff, and I got frustrated with it, so... Yeah, that can be allowed. So I went ahead and redid it a little bit. But yeah, my goal is to make this as vibrant as possible, while also still making it look as dirty as possible. So, like, I accidentally broke off part of the banner on his skull emblem thing, and I just tried to make it look like it had been shorn off. Yeah, no, I get Automod doing that, but I went ahead and popped it in, so it should be good to go. So yeah, this is what my lad ended up looking like, and I can't wait for him to do well. I don't know if you guys remember, but I went ahead, I got bored when I was homesick, so I ended up playing just kind of a simulation game so I could see how the new Space Marine rules worked. And Lysander teleported in, and failed to charge a vehicle, a Hellbrute. So instead, he turned and charged Typhus and his Death Shroud bodyguard cohort, and then they proceeded to beat them to death with the hammers. So I was like, okay, you deserve to look better. So that's why I went back and touched him up a lot. But yep, that is my Captain Lysander. There. Also, starting at 1,500 points, I'm bringing in some heavy intercessors to kind of hold home base and shoot from far away, and that means that he is going to be making an appearance. So I'm very excited for him to send the Emperor's Gift. Aw, the Purity Seal kind of snapped off. That's okay. Still a good-looking mini. But yeah, especially now with them doing 2 damage apiece down the line. Okay, so the next thing for him is going to be doing. It's worth noting that you have to pick a target to charge before the roll. No, I failed the charge, and then the turn ended, and then Typhus teleported in, failed his charge, and then Lysander got to act again on his turn, and that's when he succeeded on his charge because he moved like 5 inches closer, so he had like a 3-inch charge. Yeah, no, I remember that part. So thank you for the prompting and the reminder, but it wasn't like, oh, I failed to charge you, so I'm gonna go ahead and charge him. That would be really funny, but also really stupid. Okay, so I'm actually gonna go back to using a shade, which I haven't done in a while. We're gonna use Reichland Flesh Shade on the fleshy bits on this guy. And we'll see if that does a good job covering this up and kind of tamping it back down color-wise. Oh, that's doing exactly what I want it to do. Go ahead and give it an ugly flesh shade. Just kind of get it all in there. And it's going to bring all of the colors kind of back in, which is exactly what I wanted. That's why you like Age of Sigmar. You make the charge roll, then you pick the target. I didn't know that about Age of Sigmar. I honestly think that 40k needs a much bigger shakeup rules-wise than what they already did. And I understand why they didn't make it more transformative, because they didn't want to push away the people that already like the game for what it is too much. But I still feel like in a lot of ways 40k is still needlessly complex in a way that doesn't really provide strategic depth. It just makes the game more complicated. And that's just my opinion. If you like where 40k is now, then I'm really glad for you, and I'm happy it's in a good place. But every time I play 40k, all I can think of is how much more fun I've had played one-page rules, except for the fact that I can't play with 40k models, or with 40k, units. That's purely a me thing. At some point, though, I do have to play Age of Sigmar. Okay, I got another... No, I didn't. That's okay. I got a beep boop, but I didn't get a beep boop, so that's fine. It was flashing. But yeah, at some point I gotta give Age of Sigmar a try, and that'll eventually happen when I finally decide on what army I actually want to play in Age of Sigmar. Because, I don't think I want to play Skaven, I just wanted to own Skaven. You know what I mean? I think the army that I want to try is Nighthaunt, but that would require me buying a ton of Nighthaunt and painting them. And I don't have the time nor the money for that. So who knows? At some point you guys will see more Age of Sigmar on the channel. Right now is just not that time. Posting a link to your Insta post for the term reads. Yes, please do. I'll go ahead and pop that open and then make sure that it's clean, which I know it's going to be because you're trustworthy, and then I will show it on stream because I would love to see the Terminators that you've painted. Yeah, Instagram. Let's see what you got. Kit bashing your capture command first company. There they are. Look at those lads. Yeah, those look fantastic. Did you use the Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting what they're called. Did you use the Dark Angels as your base? Because that's what I plan. I want to do that with my Assault Terminators at some point. I want to do the I want to get the Assault Terminators from the Dark Angels box and just kind of brute force them into being Imperial Fists. You know what I mean? Boom. Look at those guys. Those are going to look so awesome when you get them painted up. Because, I mean, they look like they could be not quite Black Templars as well. And I can just kind of scrape off the Dark Angel imagery and turn them into Imperial Fist Terminators. Because what I did was there was a 3D print STL of the Leviathan Terminators, and I ended up using those as kind of the base. So, like, I think I've shown these off, but, like, here's an example of one. Oh, no, you can't see it. Because, yep, there's the little dude. Okay. Because, yeah, I used, they were essentially Leviathan Terminators as the base. You know what I mean? And I just went ahead and painted them up. And so these are my Assault Terminators right now. And they're fine, but I would love to get the Deathwing Knights and then just give them 3D printed Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields. Which, honestly, I just sold a bunch of stuff on eBay. I could probably go ahead and buy that now. Okay. So, because I want this to really dull down and get kind of that fleshy red color, I'm going to do a couple layers of this wash. And hopefully, Deathwing Knights, thank you. There's that inability to talk again. Oh, some fun things about my current job. I have helped the city manager, which is like the big important person who manages how the city is being, like the policies the city is putting forward. I have helped them. I have helped the city mayor multiple times over the last week, but it's also convinced me that I'm really concerned about the technological literacy of our political leaders. Because they have no idea what they're doing. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. I think that this is going to be an angry enough sepia tone. So the next thing, I guess, is to go ahead and hit his apparently perfectly pristine claws with some Agrax Earthshade. Because he's going to definitely need a little bit of dirtying up there. And I'll be honest, this kind of goes against my original goals for these guys, because I figured with the Rat Ogres, I was going to try and, you know, paint them up real good by actually doing, like, not a competition level paint job, but definitely something far beyond speed paints and washes. But you know what? I'm okay with it. My motivation to do so has died off tremendously. And so now my goal is to just get them, what I would say would be like battle ready, but I'm not going to be playing with them. Potentially, I don't know. So now it's just get them painted so they look good, and if I want to paint them better, I'll do that later. And I still really want to emphasize that I feel like that is a viable way to paint your minis. You may not get them perfect the first time around, but guess what? You can always repaint them. I repainted a bunch of intercessors recently because I hated the paint job, so I stripped them down and repainted them, and now I think they look pretty good. So, don't ever feel like the paint job you put on your mini is the last paint job you're ever going to put on your mini. Do I think that Fulgrim might be my next entry into the Blade contest, whenever that is? He's probably not coming out till next summer, so no. I plan on committing quite a bit of time to him. I think Horus Ascended. I'm going to touch him up and probably enter him and his base. I don't know. I'll just have to see, because there could be a million things to come out between then. I could get on this with the bits I made: 2 chaplains, mostly apothecaries for your homebrew lore, a librarian, an ancient with a thunder hammer, a shield, and Captain Lysander. And they look fantastic, Sindarius. Those are freaking awesome. Thanks for showing those to us. Yeah, like this guy, as proxies, of course, yeah. But this guy, I 3D printed the legs and the torso, but the arms are Death Watch. The head is from like an old Tactical Marine set. But yeah, I think he looks pretty good. And he's just being an intercessor. Like the fact that he's got a whatever launcher is complete bullshit. I just did that because I thought it looked good. He is going to play purely as an intercessor. So, you know, it is what it is. But let's see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, it's not here to seal. Whatever. These were two of the first Space Marines I ever painted, and I went ahead and repainted them using the style that I started doing, which was that heavy dry brush, eventually going up to a brighter color. And I think these as Imperial Fists turned out fantastic. I really like how they look, and yeah, so it's basically become my default for doing infantry, unless I really want to touch up the infantry. So it is what it is. Closed, and I can get back to paint. Okay, so he's looking more done by the minute. I think I forgot to do the tail, so I'll go ahead and hit that. And then I might do some highlights on him, but I'm pretty happy with how he's turned out. He ended up looking pretty okay. And I'll definitely do some touch-ups. He's clearly not completely finished, but he definitely looks a lot more done than I expected to get today. Okay. Hitting him with the hair dryer real quick so I can go ahead and do something else. I almost completely forgot about the dry brush job I was going to do. Kind of wish I had hit that before I had went ahead and done his fleshy bits. But it'll be okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take... What was that brown? Did I use a brown? I'm already forgetting how I painted. You think your next hobby purchase for Space Marines is probably going to be Mark 6 Marines with the heavy weapon sprue with multi-meltas? Oh, I got something to show you. One moment. I have things to show you, Cinderella. Check this out. How cool is that? These are entirely 3D printed. There is not a single piece of plastic other than the base on these minis. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a creator a couple years ago, when the Age of Darkness box first came out, he went ahead and basically did his best to mimic. Are they Primaris or Firstborn scale? They are Age of Darkness scale. So the one with the chain bayonet is a plastic model. The one with the multi-melta is a resin model. So if you look closely, there is definitely a difference between the models. But you have to look real closely to see that difference. You know what I mean? Like, especially on the back. If you look at the back, you can see there's quite a bit of muddiness on the left. Especially with, like, the feet. But yeah, no, this guy, the person who created this, did an absolutely phenomenal job getting them really close to what they actually look like. And they're proxies, which is fine, because proxy's gonna proxy. But they definitely made it so I don't feel like I have to spend $1 million. Yeah, the eyes on the resin one are definitely a lot bigger. Yeah, it looks more like Rogue Trader, right? I honestly think that the Mark 6 Marines are some of the best minis that Games Workshop put, just because they all look just incredible. Like, You can't tell me this isn't a great pose. Just look at everything about this mini. This mini is like perfect. There's nothing wrong with this guy other than the fact that he's wearing yellow. But I mean, like, the entire model just looks so incredibly inspired. And I'm really happy that they kept with the same static poses for the Mark IIIs, because the poses were all just really good. So I really want to get a box of Mark IIIs and just kind of redo the same thing. I think I have those models too, but I enjoy the kit bashing all over the plastic. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The plastic is definitely far better feeling. Almost tempted to sell your older models to kit bash new ones. That is fair. Oh no, he needs to go back too. No, I love the plastic aspect of these guys. I've gotten to a point where, to be completely honest, the only thing I don't like with the Mark III is the pikey helmets. Yeah, I just snap those off. I would honestly just snap them off because I think they look great for Death Guard, but having them on every Mark III just feels kind of wrong, you know? So if I were to get them, I would legitimately just cut them off if I was doing Imperial Fist or something. Though, as with many things in life, my eyes are definitely far bigger than my stomach when it comes to painting Horus Heresy stuff, because I want to start or paint or have like 4 different armies. I want to do White Scars, I want to do Imperial Fists, I want to do Death Guard, I want to do Emperor's Children, I want to do Sons of Horus, and there's no reason to do that many. So what I'm probably going to do to kind of sate myself is I'm probably going to print out like a squad of the 5 Walking Marines and just paint them in the different colors. Just look at the weapon sprues. If I was making multi-melta boys, I could make 10 Infernus Marine stand-ins. Speaking of eyes bigger than my painting, you've left pictures of the current project to grab my attention. Oh boy, let's see what you did. Oh my goodness, I love these guys. Paint up your Redeemer as you found the weapon parts. Very cool. Let's go ahead and get both of these in browser so we can look at them in stream. Okay. Bing, 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 bing. Man, I love Land Raiders. I love the fact that Land Raiders are so just incredibly 40k, you know? I need to get me another Land Raider. Because I have the Land Raider Crusader because I found it cheap, and I was like, you know, Storm Bolters or Hurricane Bolters feel pretty Imperial Fists, so why not? But it was missing a bunch of parts, and so it's kind of a half-complete Land Raider Crusader that I managed to complete by pulling parts off of a Vindicator that I wasn't using. So it's a Land Raider, kind of. That, they're named after a dude named Land. Yes, they are. Arkin Land was a great character that came out of a really stupid joke. But I appreciate it. Okay, the other one. Yeah, see, I want to put together a Land Raider. I didn't get to put him together. He was already put together, and actually it was a Space Wolf Land Raider. The Hurricane Bolter is very effective in 10th. They do double shots. And I'm aware. I've played with it once, and I got to do that, and it was really wild. And probably my favorite thing about that match is I was playing against a friend who was playing Space Wolves. And so while I felt a little bad about it, I wasn't able to kill all of his Wolfen, or all of his Wolf Riders. So during the charge phase, I looked at him, and I was like, I'm going to run over your dogs. And that's kind of what I did, was I hit his dogs with the Land Raider. So yeah, I got to throw a lot of dice and then run over some dogs. Okay. Okay, this might not have been the right color for this. I might have to go over this with another color to try and differentiate it from the leather that I'm doing. But yeah, getting to shoot at half range with that Land Raider Crusader felt really good. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with this, and then I'm probably going to go back over... Yeah, see, that's making everything look really samey. That'll be okay. A little bit more of the white. I keep trying to find a place to put the Land Raider in my current army list, but I really don't have one. Which is why I'm kind of excited at the prospect of actually committing to the clown car and committing to the bit during the final tournament, because that's just funny to me. So hopefully I'll have a chance to do that, and it'll work, at least kind of, and it'll be really funny, and it'll be really good. Okay, so what I'm doing now is my original plan for dry brushing failed, so I'm kind of going back over and trying to hit certain spots of it while missing the loincloth. How to paint the jumpsuits for your Valkyrie sucks. Yeah, I bet. I don't know. Could you look at like UN style paratroopers and see what they're wearing? Since you were doing a UN themed like paint scheme. Okay. Okay. But yeah, I mentioned it before, but playing Rogue Trader has made me really want to play Rogue Trader, the tabletop game. And it's also made me want to start like collect and just paint some Rogue Trader minis, because I was just so enamored with it, and that means I'm gonna want to have to buy some. But that's the money problem again. Like I said, I ended up selling some BattleTech stuff, so I have a little bit of extra spending money. But that spending money, I really should just save for the Emperor's Children release when it comes out, because that is my top priority right now. I want those Emperor's Children. And like I said, I'm not exactly in a position where that money's going to get replaced soon. Chaos Gate has been the relighting your granite. Yeah, I can completely understand that. Chaos Gate's a really good game. Eventually I'll have to replay that a bit. Okay, a little bit more of this ivory to brighten it back up just a smidge. And also I'm going to use a different brush. This one's way too far. Okay, that can go there. This one can go here. I'm just going to blend that in a little bit more. Yeah, that's the brightness. Okay. Gotta give your Grey Knights some more love. They're your first baby. Might just do Off-White. Off-White will look pretty good. And yeah, that's kind of the best and worst thing about having like a first army, is that it's not going to be your best looking one simply because it was your first and you used it to learn on, and then you play something that, or you see something or read something that reignites your love for that army, and it's like, man, I want to go back and play that army. And then you look at the models and you're like, never mind. And that's kind of what happened with the Tau when I had the Tau. I really wanted to go back to them and like repaint them, but I had done such a slapdash job of painting them the first time that it became a thing of like, I don't want to have to completely repaint these guys and redo all this. So, like an idiot, I sold them. And hopefully now someone else is appreciating that army a lot more than I did. I did keep a hold of a few key aspects of it because those models were important to me, but the biggest chunk of the army is no longer in my possession. You and your Custodes versus your Space Marines and Guard. Yeah, that's okay. It's part of the hobby, right? I don't remember what I ended up spending that money on, but it was probably something worthwhile. Okay. I think next, to further differentiate the fur color of this guy from his loincloth, I'm actually going to go back and hit it with a wash to darken it back up a bit. In fact, I might actually hit it with a speed paint again and just thin down the speed paint a bit. Where's the brown? There it is. There we go. I don't need a lot. First, let's go ahead and hit this with the hair dryer again. And to dry this off. Make sure the next too dark. Snake. Yeah, he ended up looking right gross. I think I'm pretty okay with that. Okay. Go ahead and mix in some of that water to break up some of that. Back over this. darker color. Because I know I'm playing it. I still forgot to do the dang tail. I'll do the tail in a minute. You're gonna see how you like World Eaters this time around. If I like them, you might become your first Chaos Army. Working on commission between models to be like oof. Man, I want to do more commissions. I want to get back into commission painting, but I really don't have the spoons to start putting myself out there for commission painting. I actually saw someone on Reddit, on Brush for Hire, that was looking for someone to commission paint their Dark Angels. And they were like, time's not super important. I expect this to take like 6 to 8 months. I just want them to be tabletop ready, except for like the Lion and Azrael. I want them to look real good. And all I could think of is I've got a portfolio of the Lion and Azrael. And I could just show them what that looks like. But I also don't have the time to do a 6 to 8 month commission on Dark Angels. So I respectfully didn't bother. Thank you very much, Mommy Dova. I do appreciate it. Speaking of, I still have my my proxy lion that I've got to paint up, and I keep saying I'm going to, and it's another one that's just kind of hanging out there. But I think I'm gonna try and do it in more of an emerald green style versus the very dark forest green I did for yours. So we're gonna get to see the difference between how I was initially going to do your model until you told me you wanted it to look like the box. You gave me the perfect Dark Knight, DK, Grey Knight and Dark Angel portfolio. Yeah, that is true. In terms of the Grey Knights, to be honest, I would probably want to redo them, because while I think I did a pretty good job, I look at those pictures and I'm like, I can do better now. So, at some point or another, I'm probably going to print a Grey Knight and paint it up, doing the true metallic metal thing again, just so I could try and make it look better. You're almost done with Gaz, you just need to finish the face. Yeah, Gaz was a fun model to paint. I was honestly very surprised and happy with how enjoyable Gazkul Thraka was to paint. I kind of want to do him over again, but at the same time, he was also a challenge, so I do not want to do him over again. I think he turned out... He's one of my favorite ones I've ever painted, though. I think also the photography I did for him, the lighting hit just right. So, like, the model looks absolutely phenomenal. So, there is at least that when you finally take some pictures of your commission, you're going to have a badass-looking Gazkul Thraka, because he just photographs so well. And as you guys can probably see, this red is incredibly brilliant on his tail. And what's going to happen is that eventually it's going to get painted over with some fleshy paint and look disgusting and bad. That's the whole point. I actually don't remember what I did with the other two. Where'd they go? Back there. What did I do with them? Well, heck, where did I put the other two? This is going to go right here, because I need to search for the other two. Oh, put them over here. What did I do for their tails? I'm going to lose it if I forgot to do their tails. I did not. It looks like I did two different things for their tails. Come on, focus, please. There we go. That's okay. I'll figure it out. You post pictures once you're done making a sandwich. That's fair. Go ahead and hair dry this off so that we can get some layer on it. And then after that, after I finish painting up this tail, I think it's going to be time for me to go. Between having a fairly long and involved day, and honestly not getting to see my wife much this week, post-sickness, I kind of want to call it early, because it's been very tiring going back to work. So yeah. By the way, has the music been playing? Because I messed up my settings quite a bit on when I went ahead and streamed with Isidore, and I tried to readjust them, but I didn't bother to check to see if we have music. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. I was pretty sure because I saw the equalizer going, but I wasn't entirely sure. Okay. Is that in? A little bit of dry brushing on my thumb. Just go ahead and just kind of put that in to get this horrifying pink on top. Counteract that really, really upsetting angry blood red. Just a little bit more. That's a bit too much with this. Maybe it's not. Maybe it'll be fun. Okay. I think that tail will do it. I think that tail will do it. And most of these can go back. Hopefully. Yeah, you're cool. I'm trying to think. Did I paint anything else fun or stupid while... I did I worked a little bit more on the Rat Priest. So, Rat Priest is looking like this now. And I'm at a point where I honestly don't want to do much more with him. I think he turned out pretty okay. I love the fact that I accidentally made him green. But yeah, there's my he's a Rat Priest Dominus. A Tech Priest Dominus, but, you know, rat. So, I think I'm pretty much done with him. But he's a really good start to an eventual rat mech army if I ever really decide to go that way. Oh, he is so full of warpstone. That's actually why I made his plasma green, but I completely forgot that's why I made his plasma green. So, yeah, that's going to be a good excuse for making the rest of them look dirty as shit. All that fun stuff. Okay, let's see this gas you got going on. That is indeed a gas Cult Thraka. Oh my goodness, I was like, why does his face look all hecked up? And then I realized it's because he doesn't have a face yet. Okay. Good luck getting the head in there, because it should fit, but I don't know, because I always forget. Yeah, that's a good looking gas. I love the red color you got going on there. It's going to be really cool looking when it's finished. Okay. What else I got? What other fun things have I been doing? I don't think much. Nice weathering on the legs. Yeah, it looks really cool. Oh. Yeah, I think in terms of like minis I've been working on, that's really been it, simply because he's going to be painted as a black orc. Oh, very neat. Black is one of those colors that are kind of difficult to get anything out of, but good luck. I know you can do it. You're going to do a great job. Yeah, I think that's going to end up being it. I've been streaming for about 2 hours-ish, hour 50 minutes. I think that's going to be good enough for now. Like I said, I'm getting old, and one of the shitty things about getting old is that just like sleeping wrong is apparently bad for you, because I can't sleep on my stomach anymore because I turn my head, and that gave me a horrible nerve, like crick in my neck that I've had all day. And so now turning my head to like look at the camera and turning to look back away has been hurting all night. So, yeah, I want to go to bed. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can drop you off at some other lovely who is streaming. And I'll go ahead and call it from there. Let's see. Oh, it looks like someone's playing Tekken, which is kind of neat, but let's see who else. I could drop you off a Secret Sleepover Society because they've got quite a few people. What I think I'm gonna do is my good friend Atsu is I hope so. I hope to make this regular again. I'm frustrated with the fact that I start getting like a rhythm going and then it's gone because I get sick or something. Oh, before we do go, one last thing. Something that I thought was kind of neat and also kind of heartbreaking is that the one-page rules Earth Defense or Human Defense Force half of the squads come with dogs. And it's like, that's awesome, because who doesn't want to paint little cute dogs? But at the same time, this is a war game. So like, what's going to happen to these dogs when the units get destroyed? And the answer I came up with is the other army is going to boop them on the nose and be like, tag, you're it, go home, and then they're going to go home. Because that kind of violence ain't cool. But yeah, they come with that. Oh, I don't know if I showed you guys, but first of all, I don't know if you saw the spoilers, the previews, the silhouettes for the new models they're going to be showing off in like a month. But there's definitely going to be a new Lucius the Eternal. And I'm really excited because Lucius is a really cool model. And the one that they've come up with him looks fan-freaking-tastic. But with that being said, I have I bought this 3D print that I was excited for, and now it's like, well, they've already made a better one. But check this out. This is a 3D print of Lucius the Eternal, and it's an incredibly well done one. And now it's like, I want to paint it, but at the same time, there's going to be a new Lucius, and I want that new Lucius. So what's probably going to happen is I'm going to do a really good job painting this, and then I'm just going to have two Lucius. Who knows? Okay. But anyway, yeah, paint both and compare. That's exactly what it's going to be. I'm going to go balls to the wall with both of them, and then we're gonna have a dare to compare, and I'll let you guys vote on which one you like more or something. I don't know. But anyway, let's go ahead and hop in here. And we'll go ahead and let that run. It looks like Atsu is playing Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. So yes, before I go, what's going on before I go? I got so much paint on me. I got so much red on me. My other 3 commissions are an Orc Plane and a Gorkanaut and a Morkanaut. That's very cool, and I hope you have a whole lot of fun painting them because those are neat models. I want to get me some. I want to get me a plane at some point, and do more with the dang what you call it? Oh, Darkfolt, were you here when I showed off the Doctor Who that I was painting? You want to get a Stompa for forever? I think you just need to flip a garbage bin upside down and add orc shit to it. There you go, you'll have a Stompa. So I promised, well, I didn't promise, but I mentioned to Martina like 6 months ago that I was going to paint her favorite characters, and she suggested Doctor Who. So that's going to be your second Stompa, fair enough. So I couldn't get the damn models to print right, so I kind of gave up on it, but I finally got them to print right. So now we've got the 10th Doctor and Dr. Donna. And I'm eventually going to print out a TARDIS and paint that as well, and I'm going to make like a little diorama on like a 100mm base. But I'm really happy with how they're turning out. I've got to do a little bit more on David Tennant to give his legs and his jacket a little more texture. And then I've got to go ahead and do some highlighting on Donna. And but they're going to be done very soon. And then I've got to print out the TARDIS, and I'll keep working on that. Hopefully, potentially, I'll be done with it before January and I can show it off in the community day. But who knows? Because my goal was originally every month I was going to do a new project for each of the moderators. But then that print continued to fail and I got really frustrated and I gave up. So hopefully I'll be able to actually get back on that wagon. Yep, there we go. Okie doke. So we're going to go ahead and raid Atsu, and we're going to hop in there. And thank you guys for joining me. I do appreciate you hanging out with me this evening. I'm glad I was able to see all of you, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. I don't think streaming is going to be happening again this week, hopefully Tuesday. If it does, I'll see you on Tuesday, and until then, have a great week. Bye-bye.